You know what song's been stuck in my head?
Yeah, I think we're good.
My money don't jiggle jiggle. You know that song on TikTok? My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds.
Oh,
I like to see you wiggle wiggle. No?
No, I don't know.
It's the funniest song. They made it as a joke.
Yeah,
I was gonna make Sheikh Hammer sing it.
Dude, you
For
should
the
get you should be on our Instagram group. Me and Sim send the funniest stuff over every day, bro.
Sim sends me some reels. I just like stomach.
Oh man,
Yeah,
we
we're
send
live now.
me
Let's
stuff
go.
all the time.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mamluks podcast. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts, Mort and Mahin
Salam alaikum.
Frederick.
Assalamu
What's going on, everyone? Good to be back with you guys on a Wednesday evening. Help us out by subscribing and liking the show before things get started, and help us out on patreon.com/the any little bit helps, and we really appreciate your support.
So before we get started,
Yeah,
let's talk about dinner and AirPods.
dinner.
Dinner. So just for listeners out there, if you're tuning in, we're gonna be doing something because ISNA is coming up and it's back in Chicago. So in honor of ISNA being back in Chicago Sharif, what we need is we're gonna take one or two, maybe we're still deciding, special people out to go eat. But the condition is that you have to comment and let us know if you are coming to ISNA. If you're coming to ISNA, let us know. And from all the people that are coming to ISNA, we're going to select a random person about a week before ISNA, or a couple weeks before. We'll figure out the exact date. But then we have a new thing. We're trying to push our subscribers. So anyone that subscribes or has subscribed up until our 20,000th subscriber, we're gonna pick a random person and we're gonna hand out a gift, and that gift is gonna be AirPods, brand spanking new AirPods. So make sure you subscribe, and if you've already subscribed, you're still eligible for this. Doesn't really matter, but we definitely want to get more subscribers. But
So dinner is one gift, and the dinner if you come to ISNA
yeah.
at a fancy restaurant. I mean, no McDonald's or nothing.
Yeah. We're gonna have Marian pick one of those Creekstone restaurants that
Yeah, maybe someone has a Creekstone steak or something.
Yeah.
And we'll make that happen.
What if the dinner happens to be with the sister?
No, sorry.
No.
Sisters, it's not eligible for sisters. It's not eligible for sisters.
Well, why not? That's being discriminatory.
I'm sure we can work something out for them.
We'll just send them a gift card for some like halal food.
Listen, if it's a sister, I'll take you to breakfast.
No, or we can send them like box halal food, like meat, or we can cook breakfast for everybody in their family.
And then she can cook
be in
it,
the kitchen.
and then she could send it back.
But yeah, so make sure that you guys subscribe, because the AirPods won't go out to the 20,000th subscriber. We're gonna pick a random one, but ISNA is Labor Day weekend, which is September, the first weekend of September. So if you are coming, make sure everyone must have their their comment in or their response in before the end of August, so we can pick who the lucky winner is or winners are. And then we'll let you guys know. Make sure you respond to us, or just, I guess, I don't know. Well, we'll probably have to do like a week before.
What if some controversy happens in the middle of this whole thing,
What do you mean controversy?
and we basically start a boycott ISNA campaign? And
Well, if they're still coming, we can still meet.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they're still coming.
Yeah.
Listen, it's ISNA. Yeah, we could like boycott ISNA and then still go to the convention.
I mean,
and like use it as a tool. That's the point.
like we
I don't
talked
know.
about, the only benefit of ISNA is the bazaar, right?
And meeting
Everything
people.
else is-
And meeting people.
And by the way, have you?
Ain't nobody going to lectures.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
but by the way, if you've seen like the recent they released the speaker list, it's like majority women and unknown women to me. I mean, I'm sure people
I don't
know
think it was the
them.
majority. I think 50%.
Yo,
right?
it's about half and half.
Is it half? Should we go through the
It's
list?
half and half.
I generally don't feel like it's half and half.
Hey, dude, Mort. This is funny, by the way. So on Twitter, somebody tweeted that you're always like, man, I don't know these people. I don't know these people.
What was that?
You were talking about how all the speakers, you don't know who the hell anybody is.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I don't know who they are. I'm saying Now, if you someone may know who they are, but I'm saying like there are people like generally. I mean, look, dude, the average.
I recognize all the names. I don't know. What
Okay,
what
hold
are you
on.
talking about?
Let's go through the speaker. We're gonna test Sim right here live on the
Okay,
air.
have him test Sim. Don't test me.
No,
Yeah,
Bahin will obviously know everyone.
yeah. Mahin will know everyone. Wait, hold on. Let me see. What is we had the ISNA list. Hold on. Let me just pull up the list here because I had it on my
It
phone.
was on a WhatsApp group that Sheikh Amr sent out. But by the way, Sheikh Amr has a headache again.
Oh yeah.
So make dua for his shifa.
Yeah.
He continually
It's the weight of knowledge. Sometimes it it bears down on a man of his stature.
Yep.
And gives him headaches. It's some of the prices that you have to pay.
Yeah. He conveniently gets headaches sometimes 15 minutes before the show starts and then like bails. It also might be
That's when the weight of knowledge strikes hardest, right? 15 minutes before the show.
It also might be a protection from him, knowing that if we're gonna go buck wild, the headache will kick in. It's one of the characteristics of the awliya. They're protected. Okay, go
So
ahead.
let's go.
All right, it's on Sim.
Ruwaida Abdulaziz.
I have to see their face. Show me the face.
Okay. Here.
That's a sister, right? Yeah, I've seen her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where have you seen her?
Many events. I mean, I haven't gone to these.
So
events,
Samira Ahmed, I think, is kind of known, right?
Samira Ahmed.
Yeah.
She's
this
Daisy,
one?
right?
I've seen that face
Yeah,
before.
this one I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Zainab Ansari.
Oh, she's
been on the show.
She's been on the show.
You know her. I hope you remember her. Okay. Okay.
More
Okay.
More did no.
No, hold on. One second. Let's go on.
He wasn't on that show.
No, it was me. It's Ismail.
Yeah.
Okay, so we obviously know Zahra Below.
Right.
Okay. All right. Now here's the. Okay, Dalia Fahmi. People
Yeah,
know
everyone
her.
knows her.
Right.
Some people know her. I mean, she's
Yeah.
kind of on and off, right? I mean, you remember because we keep in kind of Muslim issues, but most people, Tamara Gray, some people know her too. She's not. I mean, again, I'm saying the most common people. We probably know who they are, but I'm saying common folks. I don't think
A lot of people
Tamara-
know.
No, a
People
lot of
know
people-
Tamara Gray.
Yeah, my wife knows.
Everyone knows Tamara Gray.
Mouth is not her. But yeah. Okay, hold on. Amina Jendali.
I've heard. I don't know if she knows what she
Show me
does.
her face?
Her name is very familiar.
It's a typical face.
She's been on the
I
scene.
haven't seen her.
I think she's been on the ISNA scene for a while, but I don't know what she does. I don't know anything about her.
Okay. Jamila Karim.
No.
Do not know that name.
Another
No.
person.
Are you only doing women, by the way?
Yeah, because I'm saying like
the dudes are like
we'll go
almost-
to the men. I
Okay.
think the men are pretty well known.
Okay.
Heather Laird.
Oh, Heather, yeah.
She's
I
the
think
wife
she's-
of
Dr. Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's kind of known.
California,
yeah,
yep.
Yeah, she's kind of.
Psychologist,
I
yep.
think the California crew knows her, but I think here a lot of people don't know her. But
Right.
I think California, West Coast definitely knows her.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that for the general Muslim population, I'm saying I don't think many people would know her. Right.
General Muslim population don't know most people, but when you're
Well,
going
I think
to
okay.
Anybody we talk about, they wouldn't know either.
general Muslim population, like I've talked to people who don't even know who like these
So-
big
so-
names like Omar Suleiman,
yeah.
Yasser Qadi
Yeah.
are, and stuff like that.
Maybe right. So maybe I'm a bit wrong here in this because I think the next three we all know, right? Ingrid Madison, Dahlia Mogahed, and Aisha Prime.
Right,
I mean,
Yep.
Yeah. Camila Mu'min Rashad. I don't know her.
I don't know.
I don't know her.
Nope.
Linda Sarsour. Of
course.
That
Of
one.
course, it's not has to bow down to her.
Lisa Vogie. Don't
I know her.
I don't know who that person is.
She's a hijabi designer from New York.
And how do you know her?
Caucasian. Oh, she's just known. I think people.
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know who that is. No idea who that person is. Okay, let's go to the men now. The men's list.
Okay.
Okay, I think most people know all the men, but again, I could be wrong here. But again, it's an interesting list nonetheless. It is Abdullah Idris Ali,
Old school, the OG.
OG,
It's,
Imam Shamsi Ali.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's that liberal dude.
Really?
The progressive Muslim guy.
Really? I never heard of
yeah.
Okay.
Azhar Aziz,
Of course.
the
Former
ISNA
president.
Right, yeah. Hatem Bazian,
Sure.
we had him on the show as well.
Right.
Yasser Burjas.
course.
John Esposito.
They bring him back to old school
Every
there.
year he comes. I
No,
think.
Esposito has been there for years.
Oh really? I
Yeah.
thought he was. I thought he was usually there all the time.
No,
giving the
I don't-
non-Muslim perspective. That
I
he'd
don't
be-
remember the last time Esposito, in since we've been doing
In
Mamluks,
Chicago, he's
not
always been here.
90s, dude.
Oh really?
Yeah,
No, I
now-
think I think when we were here for our last Chicago conference, he was here.
I don't think so. I
No?
don't
Okay.
think he's been at any ISNA I've been to in the last like decade.
Okay. So
I've always heard that name like since I was a kid, but I never like researched him at all. Like,
Do you know?
He held
even a Muslim?
No,
No. He's a non-Muslim.
Oh, he's like
professor.
one of those Considine type people.
he's
Islam is great, but I'm not going to convert.
I mean, he's like the Karen Armstrong type.
Yeah, Islam is great.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to convert.
but he also doesn't put out like egregious like nonsense where he's like uniting with Qadianis and stuff either.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he's more realistic about
Yeah.
like what he basically says that Muslims are no different than how Christians and everyone else came along.
Dr. Brown actually, so Esposito's chair position at Georgetown, Dr. Brown took it over.
Yeah.
So,
So Mehdi Hassan,
sure, yep,
I don't know why everybody Shia there, but anyways, Altaf Hussein,
of course,
yep,
my matchmaker,
Abdul Nasser Janda,
of course.
I'm sorry.
That's how Sim got me,
Hussein Kamani,
of course.
yep, Human Kashvarzi,
Of course, former
Yep.
guest,
you know,
Khalil Center.
Faraz Khan from
Zaytuna, yep.
Oh wow, Khizr Khan.
Khidr, oh, of course.
But why is that dude still relevant, man?
I don't even know why, dude.
Because
Like,
it's not wants us to send our kids to
The Marines.
to war, and
Yeah,
to
and-
fighting in the Muslim lands and show our allegiance to the flag by sacrificing our children.
exactly, and let's be honest.
the only way.
What is Khidr actually known for? No, Mr. Donald Trump, I hold Constitution in my pocket. Like, I mean, that's the thing that you're known for. Like, really, like, do you really want? To,
Like he should have been okay. It's okay for 1 year, bro. But
yeah,
like,
just to kind of.
it's
ride the hype.
2022.
Right. I mean, that was cool.
He was
like,
2016 election, dude.
Yeah, and that's exactly the point. It was relevant when the elections were happening. I get it. Like, you're a political entity. But, dude, Trump is not running right now, bro. Anyway, so Sean King, you know him, Maheen, right?
Yeah. It's a total D rider.
Oh, Sean King.
Sean King,
That's
yeah.
such crap, man.
Yeah.
How come you don't bring any like you brought Linda and Sean King? Like, how much are you gonna ride the left?
Yeah. And you also brought
Like,
that
why
other-
can't they bring like Tucker Carlson?
Yeah. No, but you also brought the other guy. I'm telling you, the Shamsi Ali guy is really progressive too.
Oh, word.
Yeah. But so you have Sean King, and then you have Muhammad Magid from all the way from Virginia, I think, the Imam.
Yep.
And then you have Yatra Qadi,
Of course.
of course. And then you have Muzammil Siddiqui,
Old OG, man. OG.
Omar Suleiman, Shuaib Webb, Dawood Yassin. This is probably the only one that I'm not too familiar with. The comedian Amar Zahar, like the comedian.
So I heard he's kind of like one of those sellout types. I don't know this dude. Like I've heard like he kind of is a little like almost like too friendly with the government types.
Oh yeah, I mean
You know
I
what
don't
I'm saying?
guy,
You know-
but he looks like it. I mean, you
He's
can
a
tell.
Palestinian guy, and so a lot of Muslims don't like him. A lot of people even on the left. Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it's the guy who would tell you his name is Tom instead of Tamar, or Al instead of Amr. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Definitely an apple polisher,
yeah, definitely catch it.
as the Muhammad Hijab calls it. You apple polisher.
I love that, by the way. It's so great.
I really wish Rami came, but I guess they didn't invite him or something. Maybe he'll get on later.
That's enough out of the left. I think we need some more conservative voices. How come Abdullah bin Hamid Ali hasn't been invited?
Right.
How come
I mean, Hatem is
Hassan
kind of
Sheikh Hamza
borderline.
Yusuf isn't there? Zaid Shakir.
I'm surprised Hamza Yusuf.
He met Mark Manley. What's he
Mark
met Mark
Manley.
Manley?
Bro, by the way, dude, if you guys haven't been subscribed to him already, dude, his content is on fire lately, mashallah. I'm telling you, honestly, dude, I enjoy every bit of his content. And he's so raw with it. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
think, look, me personally, I've seen an evolution of the kind of, his ideas in terms of how he displays them. And I think it's phenomenal. His content is fire. If you don't subscribe,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ibn just go find Son of Pierre or Ibn Pierre on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely follow his content. It's amazing. Yeah.
Basically, when you look at this invite, you see who's not invited, who's not welcome to the table.
Yeah.
And then when you look at these invitations, you don't see, the guys that we just mentioned, Zaid Shakir, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf. You don't see guys like
Hamdan.
Although
Ibn
I've heard
Hamid Ali.
Sheikh Hamza made a conscious decision to like not do Islam.
I think so.
I heard
Yeah.
that as well.
But-
Like,
but-
I don't
He'll be
think
out of the limelight, kind of.
I think he's doing more his own
All
thing.
these people, Joe Bradford's not invited.
Right.
Well,
Joe goes, but he's not even on the speaker list, or he will get some side session parallel.
come
with
on.
like
Joe's
some
pretty
like
huge, Joe's
Right.
Joe's made it to the
right.
big
But
time.
I'm saying he doesn't get any like love there, right?
Yeah, he should. Joe's a great
Well,
resource.
they don't. I think there's more to it than that. There's these internal politics behind these organizing these speakers because they want they want a leftist agenda. They've firmly made a choice to align with the left, and it's either that they get the leftist speakers, or and then they'll say, "Oh, look, we're being fair by getting guys
Neutral
like
people.
Sheikh Yasser Qadi, who's a pretty neutral. You know, he
Yeah.
doesn't get involved in that kind of stuff, but they'll kind of like wiggle their way out of that. So there's stuff to learn from when you see these guest lists by seeing who's not invited.
Yeah, and I think that they're definitely struggling to find people on that side, because if you have to have a guest list of like some fashion woman and some comedian that what I mean, like I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they don't add value, they may add value in their own way, but those are like breakout sessions. Like
Yeah.
for main like speakers of event, if you're bringing a comedian on and
Right.
you're bringing on a fashion person, like we're talking about an Islamic conference here, right?
Right.
Like I'm sure there's plenty of other people you could have brought on, but they, as Sim mentioned, they probably didn't match their political or ideological agenda, and so they couldn't fill the gap.
I would be interested to see how the other conferences. There's three major, for the British listeners or anyone else in the world who are listening in the U.S. There's three major conferences that typically happen in North America. There's RIS, there's the ISNA convention, and the ICNA convention, Mass ICNA convention.
And I guess the ICNA in Baltimore. There's the Mass ICNA in Chicago in December, which happened this year.
Yeah.
And then ICNA coming in a couple weeks in Memorial Day in Baltimore. We won't be there.
Yeah.
And RIS, yeah, maybe for like 4.
So I'd be interested to see how the other conferences try to
Mass ICNA was popping.
match.
So is RIS still even around? I mean, I know it's kind of
Did
slowly
it
tapering
online.
off and
the problem,
dying off.
no, it wasn't dying off, but COVID did it because it's in Canada, and Canada had these like the
I'm
strictest.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean RIS. I meant what's the Salafi one down in Texas?
Texas Dawa.
Yes,
That was they try to bring it back,
I think it's dead, right?
more or less.
Yeah, I think it's dead. I mean, they don't
Yeah,
have.
well, the main organizers have moved on.
They got other things. You can't run, and plus like the Salafia kind of dried up when the organizers actually like pursued their careers.
And not only that, I think the backbone of who used to be Khalafi Sheikh, they've kind of shifted also too, right? I mean, like
Right.
there's some scholars who were kind of their backbone.
And a lot of cats become more political. You know, Houston's an interesting. My perception, I don't know, Sim, we all went to Houston, right?
Yeah.
The Houston Muslim community is kind of interesting in a way that they're like conservative as far as like ideologically. I think they lean Salafi for sure. You don't find like a lot of Sufi cats in Houston. And they're Desi, and they're like some are a lot of Pakistani. Like Sugarland apparently is like a huge Pakistani population, right? But a lot of them are very like normative as far as like being Americans too. That's what I feel like. They're very involved in politics, you know, that kind of thing, right?
Like community building, and we want to reach out,
Right.
interfaith, and community.
So it's not like super Salafi cats or make it. It's more like normative, like Al Maghrib type Salafis. You know, but they're career professional guys, and they're kind of like, that's how I feel like Houston is.
Yeah, I mean, I view Dallas and Houston kind of in the same way, where it's just a bunch of professional, like Al Maghrib type Salafis that then decided to move to an area that has better weather and kind of form a new community, and then just kind of have a space for themselves.
Right.
And I think that's what it became. But then after that, it didn't grow beyond that. Like they had their masjid, they had their little community, they built their neighborhoods, whatever, and that's it. It hasn't gone. That's the life they want. They don't want to be like anything more or anything less.
They basically like Dallas is like a suburban bubble. You know, Sim, your brother moved to Dallas. What does he think of it? Have you had a chance to talk to him about it at all? Or?
My brother is very neutral. You know,
Oh,
he's like the neutral scholars. You know that
Yeah,
we
he likes
mentioned earlier.
Yeah, but he's also off the grid too in a way, isn't he?
Yeah, so he doesn't
Like so, you know,
he doesn't get involved in that.
yeah, he's you know, yeah, he's kind of like just doing his thing, kind of ride the wave.
Yeah,
I would say it's a good way to say it.
But in terms of moving on to our show's topics at hand, did you guys see this article by, I think it was in the dailymail.co.uk, about Amir Khan talking about how Desi athletes suck because of their diets. And I wrote a little bit about it on my Facebook page, and I was like, Desi guys typically don't care about professional sports because they have a culture of, you know, wanting to succeed in life, or actually doing something safe and secure so that they can provide for their families, and they'll do something on the side, you know, like take up boxing or jiu-jitsu in the gym and go
Train once a week and say
Train
they're a
once a
martial
week,
artist.
and then to say like, oh, you know what, I'm a mixed martial artist, and tell everyone about it.
Yeah, I think that's generally true. I think the Desi community, Indian, Pakistani, the families put a stress on education and achievement, and they kind of view like being a sports player as an underachievement. Like this is something that's kind of barbaric, where you're just it's a kids play, right? Like that's how they view it. Like kids play basketball and kids play football, and they play. Like it's meant to be like a family picnic thing. It's not meant to be a career, at least in their minds, right? But as far as I don't know, man. As far as like genetics, I think that's a huge. I mean, keep in mind the subcontinent is like something like 2 billion people, right? And mind you, that like back in the days, like there were people that called Palwans that were like huge people. These wrestlers, like Indian. Palwans and. I mean, like, they have, if you go look at older pictures of these wrestlers that would come out of like certain parts of India, they were big dudes for natural weight. Like they were big. And I think at certain parts, genetics play a part, and certain parts of them, like many parts of the world, like they tend to be smaller because of the access to food or nutrition or just whatever, healthcare. Just like places in South America or East Asia or whatever it may be. But it's like you're telling... the average Thai person, right? Oh, he's so small and skinny, but you look at Muay Thai kickboxing, like Tiger Kick, one of the best schools in the world, right? If you go there and do that, right? So it's very subjective. I think it's largely based on genetics and how much effort you put into it. But I think it's no different than any other place. I mean, sure, they're not going to be the tallest people in the world or anything, but I don't think that makes them non-athletic or not capable of building muscles. I don't know about that.
So I think it's also but I think the diet in general, because Desis are like militant like about their diet. A lot of what I'm saying, as far as like they need to have their Desi food, right?
Yeah.
And the Desi food isn't gonna be conducive to like any kind of like new workout plan. You know what I'm saying? Like you look at Arab food, for example. They always say the Mediterranean diet is a nice diet because of like the emphasis on like grilled meats and salads and things like that. Mm-hmm. What do you get with Desi food, like biryani, like oil and like?
But here's a counter to that. The Japanese are known to have the best diets in the world, but they're mediocre athletes, right?
Yeah,
like mediocre in every way.
Mm-hmm.
But they're super intelligent. Like the average IQ of the average Chinese in Hong Kong is like, if you look at the median average.
But doesn't that come back to like also the fast twitch muscles versus slow twitch muscles?
They always say that that's racist to discuss that there's some kind of any kind of genetic advantage.
I mean,
but I'm telling you the truth. Like if you talk about any kind of inherent advantage that one ethnicity has over another, it's considered racism.
All right, who's the greatest soccer player of all time?
They
Some
say
people
Ronaldo,
Pele, Maradona.
Okay,
Maradona.
Look at the race. Maradona's okay. So let's say Pele.
And people start talking about
some
Messi.
Some people say Maradona, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Historically, basketball, Jordan.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, their food is South American food is filled with oil and saturated fats.
Yeah, plantains. But
I'm talking about the fast twitch muscles, bro. I'm like, look at Pele's race.
Well, I'm saying that there's other great soccer or football athletes, whatever you want to call it, like Messi and Ronaldo, and who aren't African American.
Honestly, I think Atif made a great point in the text. If you teach your kids to be losers, they're gonna be losers. And I think, and to be honest, that's real. Meaning that if you teach your kids that lifting is not important or working out is not important, they're not gonna think it's important, right? And I think that's part of the problem. I think it's more of a mindset, because I think that. There are plenty of plenty of us know people around us that are huge or athletic. Like my cousin, for example, my own cousin Harsh, super athletic, super fit, shredded, like all day. You know what I mean? And he takes it. It's not just because it's genetics. Like he actually works on it. Yeah. Right. You have a cousin really fit, really, really fit. I'm sure guys in your family that are really fit, and they watch it. I have an uncle that does that.
Well, remember we had Shaq on the show, Januar, and like. Shaq was sitting back, and Sim was like, "Yo, Shaq, your pecs are actually moving right now."
Yeah, they're just firing while he was talking. It was so crazy.
Yeah, and so you're right. Like I mean, and by the way, shout out to Januar Fitness. They're trying to make Muslim men focus on the value of being fit, right, and taking your health seriously. But I think what Sim mentioned is very important, the mindset. And what Arthur just mentioned in the comments, that the mindset is there that parents generally traditionally have put health on the back burner.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a focus. They don't combine the mental and the physical health together.
On top of that, did y'all's parents, dad specifically, tell you that like don't lift weights when you're young because it'll stunt your growth?
No. My dad...
No, here's another problem that often goes ignored or is a terrible misconception about India and Pakistan, or while they have the huge populations.
I like how you didn't
they
mention
have
Bangladesh, but it's all good though.
Sorry, man, Bangladesh too.
I mean, like
there's a huge income disparity among the upper class people and the working class. There's hardly a middle class in those countries. It's either if you're wealthy, you're doing well, your kids are going to have a good education, they're not going to be involved in sports, and if you're poor, you're struggling to survive. You're struggling to fill your stomach, and poor people don't have the advantages of the best nutrition and things like that. But also added onto that, you have to have cultural or sporting institutions in those countries that are state of the art. These countries, like the United States, despite having the entire fast food culture and everything that goes with the incredibly unhealthy diets that Americans are typically consuming, they have these institutions that are incredibly well funded. They have world-class coaches. They have a culture of children that are entering sports all the time. Everyone's kids are entering some kind of sport.
And they support it.
And what happens when you do that is that the most gifted children end up finding their sport. And that allows those children to go up through the ranks. And the children that don't end up wanting to pursue that sport, they get filtered out. But when you have a large volume of your population entering that sport, any sport, the likelihood of finding a gifted child within that sports program will be exponentially higher compared to an underdeveloped or developing country like India or Pakistan, who will have a dearth of the population enter sports just because they can't afford it. Their kids are working and they're trying to make ends meet.
I agree with you. I mean, what you're basically saying is they invest in, the athletic portion of the country, meaning that they create a space that allows for the child or a person to grow in that and excel in athletics. And that's something that generally doesn't exist in the Desi world, right? Like, for example, they have a Olympic team, right? But most of these Olympic guys are broke. Like, I mean, they only represent their country. They might get a little gift here, but throughout the year, they're broke, right? But in America, like, they have entire facilities dedicated for training, for development research. Like, they're worried about their breathing, their diet, they're doing blood tests, they're checking what kind of gluten. I mean, that kind of stuff doesn't happen.
It's
right?
like, did you listen to the Patrick Bet-David podcast interview with Rick Macy, who trained the tennis school, who trained the Williams sisters? Yeah, like that's crazy. That's like dude, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. So, no, Bangladesh, in the subcontinent, we got cricket. Does cricket count? They're okay.
Yeah, but when you see cricket players, you see athletes they're like baseball players,
Yeah, you don't have to be a particular size or shape.
You don't have to particular. It's like golf. You can.
True.
You can.
Yeah, remember DJ Singh?
Yeah.
I consider those sports like part of like those sports like pool
like
and badminton.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Badminton I'm not actually ping pong.
Ping pong can be.
Ping pong can
if you play it the right way, if it's sport, ping pong can be it can be a full length like tennis thing,
You know who used to be a big ping pong player? You're looking at him right now on the screen.
No, yeah, I mean, dude, I was
obsessed with it.
Not only that, I used to play tennis. I was junior USTA.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, but that's an example. Like, for example, when I played, I did soccer for a while. I did football for a little while. I stuck tennis out, right?
Right.
But the thing is, like, my father never even cared about like one of those games. It's what kids do. Right, like, I mean, think about it. I was in high school. I was junior USDA. I could have potentially probably went. I'm not saying I was the best in the world or anything, but I could have went further, went pro. I mean, if I really wanted to go pro, I probably could.
Like, I go to every one of my son's practices, or his football games and stuff. But when I was playing football in high school and in Pee Wee League, My parents never came to a single game.
Just drop off and leave.
Bro, no, they didn't drop you off, bro. My mom, take your bike and go. I'm riding my bicycle with my pads and everything, bro. That's how it was. That's how like
Yeah.
they didn't see the value in that because they know they know what poverty is, bro. They know what actually matters. They have the priorities that where they want you to be healthy in a certain sense. I don't blame them at all. Like I never had these like horrible feelings where they didn't come to my game.
Right.
Like some of these kids in the West, like you never came to my game. What?
You don't support me.
Yeah, it's all my failures are all because of you. That kind of attitude.
Yeah, I just thought they're busy. They're doing things, providing for me. Like it was just taking care of other more important things.
But in my mind, like I understood like what my parents' concerns were. That hey, I have a good education, that I succeed, and I'm able to be a provider for my family as I get older, and because they understand what the opposite is, and the opposite has incredible consequences in not just your personal life, but towards your children and extended family.
So is this just Maslow's hierarchy? I mean, essentially get stable, safe first, and then you start worrying about other things. Like I mean, because it seems to me that that first generation was just worried about security, stability, safety,
absolutely,
growth.
Yeah,
right. And then now we kind of have the option to say,
that's what Maslow talks about. Actually, I read a lot of his material, but he eventually says that once you have those needs met, you have the ability to discover the best possible version of you. You're able to have this goal in your mind where you can explore every avenue of your interests and find the best version of yourself and live life to its fullest, but they don't have that luxury.
Right.
Why do most like married guys just check out and like what's the word
why?
Give in,
Because they realize that you don't need to be fit to get a woman. You just need moolah. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. Like, okay, this is what I really feel like, okay? I think it's like, before, for example, before a wedding night, everybody's out there doing push-ups, hitting the gym, trying to get abs like 2 weeks before the wedding. Like everyone's trying, it's shutting down.
Months, bro. They're like, I gotta get in shape for my wedding. And
then like a month after, you see them to kind of put some weight on. And I think what they realize is that women and men are attracted to different things. Like I think men begin to realize that women are attracted to different actions they will do, and they're not as visual as men are. I'm not saying they're not, but they're not as visual.
Right.
And men are more visual, right? But they were like, hey, wait a minute. If I brought my wife flowers or told her to do whatever like this, it's going to get her in the mood. I don't really need to be like a super fit guy, right? I just need to make sure.
But some dudes, okay, I get it. Like you put on a few pounds, but some dudes are obese, bro.
Oh, yeah.
No, look, like I went through a phase when I was younger, after I got married, and I put on almost 60 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah. Bro, me and my one of my friends, we would just hang out every Friday night, and we just get multiple entrees. It was just burgers and
nice.
The dude,
That's like you're eating a lot of stuff at late at night.
Late at night, we just ate like crazy, and then I eventually just got disgusted with myself, and I lost all the weight. But the reason why is because when you realize that the game is over, in terms of trying to find a spouse, no girl typically wants to marry or finds a guy attractive who is incredibly obese. What the term is called, grotesquely obese.
Agreed.
Right.
And so it provides added motivation to a man to have some of those physical characteristics, because you could be as wealthy as you want, but that won't really attract a woman because she won't know whether you're wealthy. The initial attraction is what you want to highlight. I mean, we all did it when we were young, lining up our beards and everything that kids do nowadays. Every guy has done it who's been married to attract the opposite sex, right? So I think when that feeling or that need is taken away, the game's kind of like, oh, well, you know what? I only did it for her. Or the motivation's really gone,
Well, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, okay, I hit my objective.
Yeah.
And then it's not really done for you don't see it as value to yourself, but more value to get something.
Yeah.
And so when you achieve that, you start thinking, hey, you know what? I don't need to do it anymore because and I think that's coupled with the idea that you realize that your wife you got her locked in, like she's your wife. But yeah, I think
the guys that did keep it off, that didn't end up adding weight, were, at least from my friends group I'm looking at, were guys who were already interested in weightlifting. It wasn't like to pull women, it was to be they genuinely enjoy that sport. They enjoyed weightlifting, they enjoyed whatever sports they were involved in, and they always maintained that physique.
Right, and I think that's what I'm getting back to. And I think that in order for men to maintain that, I think it's a big part of your rojula. Like, you have to find motivation in continuing. You don't have to be like a super huge beefcake, like lifter, like meathead.
Yeah.
But some kind of physical activity that's gonna boost your self confidence, and then in the healthy for you, like a healthy regime. I don't care if that's walking 40 minutes on an incline treadmill, or if that's 30 minutes of weightlifting, or if it's swimming, whatever it may be, running outside, doing something that's going to build you and build your testosterone. Because at the end of the day, when you work out, it's not just for the other person, right? As you get older, some of you young guys will realize this. It's about longevity. It's about, because the older you get, you're going to come to a point where you can't do the same things that you did. It's not that you can't, but you're going to feel more struggle or pain doing it. And the more active that you are, the more those become easier to deal with. And I would just say this right here off the bat is that this is very important for testosterone, right? You find a growing number of men in America and the Western world in general, by the time they're in the 30s, they have super decreased testosterone because of many reasons, not just diet, but microplastics and whatever it may be. So to fight that, you've got to keep it. And what that means is if you have low T as a man, you have no vitality. I mean, you're essentially pretty much just like a limp dude. You know what I mean? Like,
when you get older, you don't have muscle, like good strength, right?
Right.
You'll be crippled. Abu American made a really nice video the other day where he talks about like, don't like center your life. You don't need a woman in your life.
right.
He's like basically like, you need to have the mindset that it's a nice thing to have, right? But so many dudes. Yeah. There's one guy on my Facebook feed that I feel bad for this dude. Like, it just sad. It makes me sad every time because he's always like posting about how he's not married and this and that all the time, and I'm just like, bro, this is just like repelling every woman around. First of all,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So stop that.
100%.
You need to go hire my boy Fahim from Rajala Group.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You sign with him ASAP. But I'm just like, you don't do it because what happens is like when you do things for yourself, that's what women are attracted to.
Because you're putting it out there.
Right.
Women need to see the action that you're doing. Because see, you project that.
They want to see ambition, grinding, but not for them.
Right. For your own. I mean,
Right.
they want to see you. Like, I mean, here's the thing, dude. People, like, for example, just for a man to understand, for young men to understand this, when you see your homeboy in the gym and he's pumping and you see that motivation that you get, that he's not doing it for you, but that energy that he's feeding off into the place around him motivates other people. And that's the same kind of thing that motivates women, right? When they see a man who's got his stuff together, he's taking care of his health, he's not worried about the jibber jabber. He's not worried about just every single woman coming by because they feel like, hey, that man is focused. Mm-hmm. And with focus, they incorporate, like they associate stability, wealth, potential, right? You may not be the wealthiest, but you have like potential, right? If someone who's goal oriented, definitely you're gonna say potentially they have a way to grow, excel, right? Mm. And I think they gravitate toward that when you're out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so focus on yourself. When you're and I know it's cliche, right? Like, it would be the best version of yourself. I don't mean sitting there writing stuff in a journal and talking to yourself. No, I mean actually doing things. Right. Right? If you're unhappy in your career, get a second job. You to do a career shift. If you're unhappy about the way you look, right, and you're not taking care of yourself, take that step. You have to invest in yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was looking at it like there's financial improvement, spiritual improvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a game plan for that, and there's physical improvement, right? And I think you got to find stuff that like makes you want to compete, or like because let's say bodybuilding isn't for everybody. Jiu-jitsu isn't for everybody. CrossFit is whatever. Like, but find something that'll work for you, right? I was with the Imam Dawood Yassin. You mentioned earlier in the ISNA list. So he was in town last week, and he was in town. He's 52 years old, You know what he was in town for? Jiu-jitsu.
Mashallah.
He came to train with Adam Redzovich.
Yeah.
Because that's his coach, his professor. And he has a competition coming up. So he's like, I just came to town for a few days just to fine-tune some stuff. Got a competition. And I'm like, how long you been doing it? He's like, just 4 years. So he starts when he's 48 years old.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu. And he's like, keep it at it. It's like a thing where, you know, you get on something. And I think that's the thing that, you know, people got to strive for. You have to find what makes you tick. What makes Mahin or Mort or Sim tick ain't gonna necessarily make you tick.
Right.
But you got to find that out, right? And you know, it shouldn't be just like exercising your fingers playing video games.
Right. I mean, like for example, by the way, Sim, a good friend Malachi Click is telling you that you got to give him a double XL T-shirt. He keeps. I reminded you earlier.
Didn't Mort punch him in the mouth? And
didn't I remind you earlier today? I did, didn't I?
He did remind me.
All right.
I'm just
I got
not
you,
sure.
Maliki.
I'm just not sure if we have those in stock, but
Well, you better order some, bro.
I will.
Okay. All right. No, but I mean, but like for example, our friend Maliki, mashallah, like he's out there skateboarding, and it's so cool.
Or he's out in the woods.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. I mean, but I watched some of his clips and like this whole body movement. I mean, I'm not a skateboarder, but I
Yeah.
think, hey, if that makes you tick, if that makes you get the movement, be out. That stuff is what you need to find, right? Whether it's hunting, whether it's hiking, whether it's something, whatever it may be that you enjoy. Like when I think last year, similar. I think last Ramadan, around that time, I decided to start, you know, just getting some fitness. Remember, I started taking walks. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you were
hey,
just walking.
yeah, I'm like, hey, for me, I enjoy it, but I'm like, that's how it started. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna start taking walks just so I know an hour a day, I can just get out and decompress and just start, you know, just building up. And I think it's about building a habit,
Right.
doing what you can do that starts building up, and therefore you get, you know, you have to build that muscle. Right. And I think that that's part of being a man. Right. You have to and one thing I noticed about this as well, too, is that it's kind of like those little battles in the day that you win
Right.
that make you feel good. And they also give you structure.
Exactly. And I think sometimes you have, like, I think people sometimes they spend all this time planning out what they're going to do for exercise. Oh, I'm start tomorrow. And it's this exquisite plan.
Yeah.
And then they can't meet it. And then just like do nothing.
Right.
Right. Or something. You'll see like a Jocko Willink, like 4:30 in the morning. And then like you sleep right through your alarm. It's like, it's over. I can't do it. So as an example, like, so today my plan was, okay, my original plan was like, okay, I'm going to go to work and then go to jiu-jitsu and then come to the podcast. Right.
Yeah.
But I was like, listen, man, is that really real? How realistic is that for me to go all the way to the South Burbs,
Yeah.
from the North Burbs, train jujitsu, then come back to the West Burbs? That's like 2 hours of driving, right?
Yeah.
So like, there's a gym by Sim's house that I've got to kind of the chain membership to. Let me go there, and I'll go there like at 6, and I'll get like 90 minutes, right? I'm at work till 6:30, so I don't get there till 7. Yeah. I'm like barely like awake while driving. I took a nap. 15 minutes in the parking lot, and then I was like, okay, I got 30 minutes before the show, and I was like, sometimes people will just be like, 30 minutes, man, I'm just gonna give up, do nothing. No, let me go in there, do some rowing, some sled work, that kind of thing. There's always something you could do.
Well, yeah, a lot of it is just hacking yourself into getting into the gym. Just tell yourself like, hey, I'm just gonna go to the gym and I'm just gonna do something really light. And then when you're doing it, you feel like wanting to do more. You're like, hey, I got your blood flows, and then you end up wanting to start doing some weights, and then the next thing you know, you're an hour into it, and you feel great afterwards. So a lot of this stuff is just kind of hacking your laziness, because most of our listeners were listening from the West, and we have these an inherent laziness that we are constantly fighting. And one of the most important things to do is just restricting your diet too, because you eat heavy foods that's going to bring you down. You gotta really do some self introspection and figure out, well, where are your mental blocks and how are you going to approach those things, because it's so easy to give up on anything. And even faltering in your regimen completely derails people. I've been in working out when I was young. I would be like, oh, I missed this week, now it's over, you know?
Yeah.
So you have to realize, like, failure to not accomplish something in the past doesn't necessarily equate to your failure today, you know?
Yeah.
So every day is a new day where you can start meeting your goals. And this could be even applied, this kind of mindset can be applied towards Salah, any other worship that you have that is preventing that you haven't been performing regularly. You can apply it towards so many different facets of your life, even work in general. So this is the thing we're kind of talking about, is applying these principles throughout the various aspects of your life where you are completely just derail yourself, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the biggest thing is that your body will always give you excuses. Or you're always gonna say, "Oh, this hurts," or "I feel lazy," or "I just ate," "I just did this." You
I don't have the money to go to a gym like you guys do.
Yeah,
You guys are well off, blah blah blah.
Go on. I mean, dude, there are people. Just Google calisthenics. There are people who use monkey bars, and there are people just even walking every day. Uphill walking itself is a huge cardio builder, right? We have a friend of ours who goes very cheap. I love him, but he'll just go up. He'll do stair walks up and down the hills because it's just exercise for, and it's super hard, right? But he does it, and he gets, there's a way, and I think you have to like Sim said, you have to tweak your mindset. You have to be able to say, listen, I need to do this, right? And I need to figure out a way. And even if you miss a day, that's part of the experience, but you can't let that dictate the future of how you're going to treat this, right? You have to say, listen, fine, I missed a day. I'm human. And the
fundamental aspect of your thought should be like calling out your BS. Like, you have to be honest with yourself. Many of us want to have this kind of internal ego preserved, so we'll make excuses and like, everything but me is responsible for my failures, and until we talk so much about like tasawwuf and purification, and this what's often ignored in a lot of these discussions is just the inability to be honest with yourself. Like, truth is not just speaking truth, but internal truth that is emanating from your heart, where you are calling out your BS throughout your life, where you didn't accomplish, where you didn't put in the work to pursue your interests, pursue anything, and then you sit around on the sofa calling out or making fun of or belittling other people's hard work, saying, well, oh, you know what, they just care about the dunya. And this is one of the things I hate about certain religious people. Not everyone. There's some religious people who just like sit around, grow bellies, and then talk about how you shouldn't fill the worst vessel to fill.
1/3 water,
is
1/3 ham,
the hadith of the prophet.
You carry on a spare tire, man, for real.
Yeah, I mean, so
you're right.
I mean, these are things that you have to be honest. If you're truly speaking these things, be honest with yourself and call out your own laziness.
And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Like, when you have to force yourself to work out, you can't BS yourself. Like, if you put the work in or you did it. Right. And I think people are uncomfortable with that reality. So they tend to make an excuse as to why they can't do it, because they don't want to have to face, because to be honest, the biggest challenge in any workout is yourself, right? I mean, you can't, as much as you want to blame other factors, you can't. It's you and yourself. Like, it's a battle between yourself. And that's why I love taking cold showers in the morning, because it's my first battle of every morning.
Right.
You jump in that cold shower. I think even Malik, I had told him about this. I'm like, take cold showers. It'll change your mindset about everything. Because that when you conquer that first battle in the morning of taking that cold...
And work your way up. And some people will say, no, I can't do it.
I work my way up. Like, I used to do halfway, and then I started decreasing it. But I'm telling you, no matter even a halfway cold, right? Nobody, trust me when I say this, no matter how many times you take a cold shower, nobody wants to jump into a cold shower in the morning. It's never something, and no matter how many times you do it, it just becomes more tolerable, but it's a thing every day you gotta beat. You gotta say, oh my God. And I can guarantee you'll be far more productive in your day just from the first day, because you're like, man, I beat that. I did that. I woke up and I pushed myself in the shower. Something so small like that even just by turning the knob down to cold and bearing that cold and breathing and controlling your breathing in that cold will change your mindset. You have to do little things like this that conquer these little barriers that you put in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Someone in the last chat was saying, though, in the previous show, they said I had lost a lot of weight, and I was really appreciative of them noticing, because, I mean, I did put in the work over the past few months to lose a ton of weight. Mahin has been as well over the past year or so. He's been working hard to find a second wife and getting noticed by the opposite sex. But
but you're talking about like doing that. I still got to use that, get that beard trimmed up and use the razor and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested in concubines, because I think there's less
responsibility,
less work. Yeah.
Less work or less responsibility.
Less responsibility. Yep.
But guys, let us know what you guys think. I mean, whatever.
We were going
whatever
to cover a
issues-
lot of things, but unfortunately we ran out. But we had so many other things. But I think this was good.
I think on the notes though, you guys been following this. Sheikh Amar's been loving this. I wish he was here. He's been loving this Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
I think it's great to pass time when you're working from home when you're like doing IT work. It's great. But don't tell because Sheikh Amar's boss is probably watching this. So
Really?
probably. So
Sheikh Amar's boss is Muslim and a listener.
yeah. So about
Oh, okay.
Oh, you probably just got him fired, but it's okay. We'll work it out.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I think in a broad sense, before you guys murder me, listen to me. All right. I think in general, the Me Too movement was important. Okay. I think it brought to light some real a-holes in the world.
Yeah.
To put them in check.
Yeah.
And that they need to be careful about how they interact with the opposite gender. Namely, like Harvey Weinstein was an incredible world-class, horrible human being. But what often, at least from what gets lost in the discussion is what some of these women did, like with Harvey Weinstein winning these roles in movies and stuff, is that they kind of cheated the system too. There's a lot of women who didn't win that part because they didn't agree to doing what the things that Harvey Weinstein wanted to do with them.
Wait.
You know?
So what you're saying is that there are some women who intentionally did this to get ahead, and now they're complaining. I mean, let me rephrase that. I don't want to come off as like an idiot, but let me rephrase that. So you're saying there are some women who are more willing to comply with that, and it kind of set the tone for the behavior that was acceptable.
Well, yeah, because they did beat out other women who wanted to play fair, and they didn't want to agree to do those.
So they're part of the
horrible-
problem, is what you're saying.
well, there's a level of responsibility, right? There is some, like, you did make some poor choices by agreeing to do those acts with an incredible, repulsive human being, who took advantage of you in a vulnerable position. Agreed, right?
Yeah.
He's a
Right.
horrible piece of crap. Everyone agrees to that. Now, there is still a level of responsibility where you kind of cheated the system and you agreed to do that, whereas other women did not, and no one rewarded those women for refusing those advances from men like Harvey Weinstein, right?
So I think the term you're looking for is enabling. They enable this kind of behavior by these men like Harvey.
Enabling might be a little too strong of a word because they did feed into the predators like that, right? Because I think had there been a unified approach to it where women you're never going to get full unification on this kind of thing, but there's if there's a firmer stance that you put towards predators like that,
or meaning there's a norm in Hollywood that, hey, this doesn't happen. Like, you know, because I think, to be honest, to be fair, this is fairly normal in many places where women will generally know they can flaunt their beauty to get ahead.
Yeah.
And some men take that to an extreme, which is wrong. I'm not denying that. But it's known that women can flaunt their beauty to get ahead in certain careers. And I think that if they put an end to that, like in a uniform, like meaning that is no longer acceptable to women at a large, that kind of prevents, you know, it's not as inviting to say, hey, listen, you're looking at me, I know you're looking at me for my body, and that's why I'm going to get the job, or I'm going to do such and such, right? And I think in that regard, is there a possible way to get uniformed attitudes? I don't know, but I think it's like saying, hey, you know what, if Muslims stop playing the victimhood about something, right, about terrorism, you know, we won't have to deal with it, right?
So let me just summarize. The reason why I brought this up is because women like Amber Heard, who are charlatans and being exposed to the world for the accusations that they're making, and she looks ridiculous.
She made a fool of herself.
Yeah, everything, like my dog stepped on a bee, and like, did you see some of the reels that people are making on Instagram?
Yeah.
Well, my dad had to pee, and they're like making like all these like continuations off of my dog stepped on a bee, my dad had to pee, and silly things like that. But it just made me crack up because she's humiliating herself in front of the world on the world stage. Everyone's looking at her, and I'm wondering, I wonder if Amber Heard sees these memes that people are making about her and just realizing how full of crap she is.
I think he does, because I think she knows she's setting herself up, because to the point where she walked out of her own legal defense, like, hey, where are you going? Like, she walked out, and I think, you know, And to be fair, I think what Sim is trying to mention here is that there are women who are legitimate victims of abuse and abuse of power, and they've been taken advantage of. And then there's women like Amber Heard who try to play the victim, even though they're in the wrong. Like, there's been a lot of stuff. I don't want to go into details of it. It's not really relevant here, but just go watch the clips. You'll see that this woman has made a fool of herself as an embarrassment. And her own defense is starting to realize that, there's problems, there's holes in the narrative, there's, over money being spent and blah, 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 blah. But the idea that every single woman should just be believed at face value, any accusation, I think that notion now is being heavily challenged. And I think this trial has put a nail in the coffin to the Me Too movement. It's already had problems from the beginning, but I think this one is kind of like, because Johnny Depp is a fan favorite, man or woman, right? And when you come out and see what he had to kind of go through and how embarrassing it is, and how he's chuckling at stuff because it's so embarrassing and you have to talk about, you start to realize the amount of lunacy, and not only that, the mental abuse and physical abuse that can also take place from women to men, right? Like, I mean, these manipulation, the wanting to fight, the aggression, the financial manipulation, the manipulation over children and ruining of reputations. People began to see that and see how women can use that against men just as equally as men can use physical violence against women. And I think that's kind of been the highlight.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the death of the Me Too movement, because I think women still will highlight abuses that are being done to them. There are legitimate women who have experienced that and have talked about it, but there are women who are attention seekers who, in Amber Heard's case, she's clearly manipulated. What was the organization that helped her get her op-ed into the Washington Post? I think it was the ACLU. Yeah. So she promised the ACLU a huge donation.
The Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. So $7 million we're going to give.
Yeah. So those two institutions pressured the Washington Post to publish her op-ed in the Washington Post, accusing Johnny Depp of all kinds of abuses. And
because she blamed him for not being able to pay them.
No. So she never even paid those donations.
That's what I'm trying to say. Because she said she had claimed she had done it, and then when the hospital came back and asked them, "Where's the money?" You said, and then she's like, "Well, I didn't get it from him, right?" But the thing is that then she started making this excuse about the full amount because of taxes, or I was getting paid $1 million in blah blah blah. A pledge is not actually giving, and she just tried to make a fool of herself essentially.
And I think eventually Johnny Depp footed the bill or something like that.
Yeah, he paid all the money. He paid all of it.
Can you imagine that? He's paying the bribe for her that she used to sabotage him and make all these,
just to make it go away, just to say, hey, I want peace, bro. Just get out of my life. I'm done. And so I think what you're saying is when we're talking about women that are suffering abuse, I don't think they will be quiet. I don't think it should be quiet. But I think the Me Too movement is more than that. The Me Too movement had this notion that whenever a woman says something, you have to automatically believe the other man is guilty. Yeah. And I think that's the part that's going to go away. Because that can, number one, for us as Muslims Islamically, that's absolutely wrong, right? Yeah. There are two sides to every story. And right now there's a current sheikh that's going through that. And even though I don't like some of his views, people are making accusations. And I think that Muslims should be real on principles and say, listen, his personal life and accusations are not really a concern. You can't use that to add fuel to the fire as the reason why you hate him or disagree with him. It should be completely independent. And I think this idea of this believing every single thing that you've been told, hearing one side of the story, I think that portion of the Me Too movement is going to go away after this, because it becomes harder when you see this is not the first one. There are other cases that were maybe not as prominent, but it's coming out, where the men are felt, wait, I'm not, there's been stuff done to me.
It's just this problem of women who have had bad marriages all of a sudden wanting to be part of this movement. Like this movement wasn't about you and your marriage being a terrible marriage, because marriages are complex. You can't even write a book. Mm-hmm. It would be an encyclopedia of events over the course of time of your marriage, where how the wheels eventually fall off, and to utilize instances from the worst version of yourself in a marriage and try to show that to the world and say that, hey, this is who he is not necessarily a fair indication of what the entire course of the marriage was.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, yeah, violence and disgusting types of
Right.
abuses will, they're definitely horrible, but like, you should have filed a police report, like there should have been something that was on paper related to it. But there isn't anything, and now you want people to go off of your word.
Yeah.
But I mean, some people have evidence, some women do have evidence, because this is like a tricky area to navigate, because it varies so much by each individual who's reported these abuses publicly. Some women do have like pictures and stuff and stuff that they can prove to people. Everyone on this podcast except Mort has daughters, and we're all incredibly fearful of them eventually marrying someone horrible, and we want our daughters protected and cared for, just like how we as well as we treat our wives, so we definitely aren't against the entire Me Too movement. I think what we are is against the fraudulent people who kind of hijack that movement to say, hey, we're part of this clique and we want attention, and that there's just these attention seekers that are out there, and they're not pursuing the proper avenues to pursue legal settlement and stuff.
So I'm pretty ignorant. I actually had no idea who Amber Heard was. I just figured she was Johnny Depp's girlfriend.
It sounds like a porn name.
And I just googled her. I was like, oh, she's been in a lot of movies.
Oh, you didn't watch Aquaman?
What?
Oh,
What movie was she in?
Aquaman.
I thought she was a model. I didn't know that.
No, so she the only movie I recognize her that I've seen is like Friday Night Lights, the 2004 with Billy Bob Thornton.
The football,
movie,
the little league one,
the movie,
the high school
one, right?
Was she in that movie?
She was in one scene where she's getting plowed by Don Billingsley, and then Tim McGraw's character walks in.
Wow.
Okay, so
I guess it's very suiting.
I think more recently she's been in Aquaman.
It's 2004. Right? Yeah, it was like 2004 movie. Like back in the day.
That's still old for me, bro. Yeah. Irrelevant. Okay, but anyways, I think we could say a lot more about it, but I think we kind of hit the the.
I gotta go home.
Yeah. So by the way, I just noticed the hat. I think it's pretty cool.
My hat?
The weightlifting on the.
No, the West Side Barbell.
Yeah.
You heard of West Side Barbell?
No.
Louis Simmons. He just passed away recently.
No.
He invented the conjugate method.
That's the guy. Oh, yeah.
You know, he's on Joe Rogan's. So Joe Rogan went to go interview Louis Simmons at Louis Simmons' gym. Louis Simmons didn't even know his name. He's calling him Jim. Like, he was so disconnected. He knew nothing about anything except powerlifting.
Wow.
He's a 74-year-old dude. So West Side Barbell is actually in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh,
it's my hometown. Yeah.
Oh,
it's,
okay.
So
very cool though. I just noticed it. Yeah.
I figured you were wearing a blue flag.
It's an American flag, but it's like a pit bull.
I thought you were joining some right wing militia for a second.
It's like pit bull lifting up a barbell. That's what it is. Nitro.
I thought like don't tread on me.
So Nitro is the pit bull. That's Louis Simmons' dog.
Oh, got it. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, before we guys kick off, before Sim wraps this one up, make sure you guys smash that like button. Don't be cowards. All right.
Leave a comment in the comment section below. Let us know what your tips and tricks are to get out of a rut. Comment about what you think about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and as it relates to you and your life or your experiences. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, and don't forget about the giveaway and the dinner. You're gonna have to make sure you guys are letting us know if you're coming to ISNA or not. So let us know in the comment section. We'll be checking them out, and we're gonna keep we'll point someone to keep a track of the record. But anyways, point being is let us know. So you need to comment and smash that like button.
Help us out on patreon.com/the Mad Mamluks. We'll see y'all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
That's my heart. I had all weird.
Oh, your hat is cocked to the side.
Yeah.
It's like that. You got that wigger look going.
I think that kind of episode where we talk about the man stuff.
Yeah. People like to tell me, like, oh, you guys are